Rocket Power is the epitome of the extreme trademark sports hype of the 90s and early 2000s. Pitched initially as Rugrats, but on skateboards, thanks to the sons of creators Arlene Klasky and Gabor Chupo getting really into skateboarding. So I thought it'd be fun to go back to the show 26 years later to see how well it's aged, and more importantly, keeping track of everyone's stats throughout to determine once and for all who Rocket Power's most valuable player is. And not to brag or anything, but I'd like to think of myself as a pretty good judge of athletics. Episode 1, New Squid on the Block. This episode introduces us to the main crew we'll see throughout the show, Otto and his older sister Reggie Rocket, as well as their friend Twister. They see this new kid Sam moving across the street from Kansas, and he even has a computer, which will be great for the skateboarding zine they're trying to publish. Now, a lot of people will complain about this show coming out on the tail end of the extreme sports hype of the 90s, or the fact that someone into sports would probably rather watch The Real Thing, and someone into cartoons would probably rather watch something a little more animation-y, maybe. But more than anything, I see people argue that the kids are all jerks, and this episode doesn't do them a whole lot of favors.
I want you to meet our new neighbor, Sam. Now why don't you put on your friendly hats and say hello?
The crew gets Sam to play hockey with them down at the pier of Ocean Shores, a fictional beach town pretty clearly referencing Ocean Park, a neighborhood in Santa Monica, based in part on Arlene Klasky's childhood growing up in Orange County, and it really might be the coolest fictional town in any show I watched growing up. Like, sure, it's just a real place, but it really digs deep into that wish fulfillment of basically living next to a beautiful beach while also having enough free space to play street hockey. Sam's really bad at skating, and it doesn't help Twister goes out of his way to trip him for no reason, but they learn he's actually got sick reflexes, making him a great goalie to beat Twister's older brother Lars and his annoying friends.
Dude, your little brother's team is actually beating us! I can't believe it. We're bigger! We're older! I'm Exactly!
They get the puck stuck in their next door neighbors, the Stimpletons' mailbox, which is actually a scale model replica of their house, which Lars tries to turn into a forfeit for the kids, but Sam's able to mess with the remote, causing some kind of explosion in the house, and getting the puck free to save the day. The title of Squid is passed down from Twister to the new kid Sam, but more importantly, he's gotta be the MVP today, not only stepping up as goalie to take down Lars' team, but also for dodging the forfeit caused by Twister's awful shot. Like, Twister's lucky I'm not counting a least valuable player each episode. What was this shot? In the next episode, Reggie's put in charge of house sitting for the Stimpletons while they're out of town. They pretend Sam peed in the pool, and he falls for the easiest rage bait ever, threatening to drain the pool, but they all think this is actually a good idea since they could use the empty pool for skateboarding. They accidentally drain the pool into their own basement, and to make matters worse, their dad Raymundo's coming home because he wants to use the pool too.
Tito, I'm gonna spend the day with the kids. Think you can handle the rush on your own?
Been trading all my life for this, brother.
Which is pretty funny, like, despite no one being allowed to use the pool, even their dad's a chill guy. They managed to refill the pool just before the Stimpletons' unexpected early return, with not just Raymundo floating in the pool, but all the junk that got sucked up from the water in the basement. It's such a funny visual, even though Raymundo has freakishly small baby hands. Now, an episode like this doesn't really have much going on in terms of sports. Yeah, they trampoline and skate a bit, but I don't think it should count towards the MVP progression race. So to make a fun little side pool out of the non-applicables, I'm actually gonna mark this as the Meme VP award for today for Raymundo. I thought he was just like really funny and chill here and was probably my favorite character in today's episode. So to make it up to you for there not being an MVP award today, I'm gonna give you a crazy fun fact I bet you didn't know. Raymundo's voice actor, John Cassier, is actually the owner of Block Blister Videos in The Amanda Show.
This is not the Wizard of Oz.
No, you asked for the Wizard of Oz.
Oz?
Yes, this is better.
Much better!
I will never be able to unhear that. In episode 2A, Secret Spot, the kids struggle to go surfing or skating because everything's been taken over by shoobies.
What's a shoobie? You are.
The Rockets have a super secret spot that isn't shared with anyone, so they ask Raymundo if they can bring Twister and Sam, and this is where we get the first of Tito's legendary ancient Hawaiian sayings.
The mouth cannot speak what the mind does not lead. Tomorrow, you'll lead your friends to the spot, but say its location, you shall not.
Is that a haiku?
Twister's older brother hears about this and blackmails him into revealing the location, crashing the secret spot, and breaking everyone's trust. Squid immediately takes the blame for this, assuming it was his fault. They must have overheard him when he told his mom where they were going. But it turns out both Otto and Reggie left out a key detail when sharing where the secret spot was, because they felt something like this was probably gonna happen. So we see Lars and his friends on a beach of rocks, trash, and angry pelicans, and Twister apologizes to Sam for letting him take all the blame of the secret spot.
I'm sorry. How can I make it up to you?
Let's just go surfing. Squid. Bust!
I love this expression here, like you know he's mad, but you also know he's just gotta hold that. If we're giving out a meme VP for today, I think it's gotta go to Uncle Tito, cause without his ancient Hawaiian sayings, the kids would have never been able to go in the first place. And I gotta give a shout out to my man Tito whenever I can. In episode 2B, Ice Queens, the kids are on their way to a hockey tournament, and Twister's cousin just beefs with Reggie the whole time since she's an ice skater and believes hockey isn't for girls. We learn Twister's name is Maurice, which is actually a fitting name for the episode, because it's like, more ice. Reggie and Maurice's cousin Cleo fight yet again about ice hockey versus ice skating, and I do enjoy the scene, if not just because of how much aura Reggie has here. We get to the big game against the Stick Demons, and we tune in with the kids down 2-1 as they smack Squid around, who still manages to block a shot. Like, that's a penalty in any form of hockey, and he still makes the save. Reggie gets the puck again with 10 seconds left, dodging the defenders with their ice skating skills, and jumping up to rip a crazy top shelf slap shot. And I was about to say, Reggie's the GOAT, like the video's over, but this actually turns out to be Cleo this whole time.
Someone with your own steroid dosage.
The gals switched places to see which sport was truly harder, and you'd think Cleo would be the MVP here with this game-winning shot, but Reggie actually has a really impressive routine, all things considered. I truly have no idea what people may consider more difficult between ice hockey and ice skating. Like, I look like a baby deer when I try to skate, so I can't judge either too well, but I actually think Reggie has to be the MVP here, which ironically proves that Cleo was right. Sure, Cleo knows how to skate, and jumping into a hockey game without really knowing strategy or technique makes this really impressive. But on the other side of the ice, Reggie's performance is pretty crazy for an amateur skater. Like, she pulls off a double axel, at least I think, which is a staple of elite women's ice skating. I can only imagine what Cleo can do in this universe where gravity just doesn't exist. The backflip was actually banned in ice skating because it was deemed too dangerous and considered impossible to land on one skate, so check out Surya Banali's backflip documentary sometime. Come back to this and see what Reggie's doing, like a double front flip, and tell me she's not the MVP, and I will show you a liar. So yeah, after all my research for this episode, despite Reggie having skating experience and Cleo having no hockey experience, I still think Reggie's ice skating was way more difficult and impressive. So Reggie's the MVP and Cleo wins the argument. She'd probably want it that way. In Otto 3000, Otto's board gets fixed up by his dad, sponsoring his snowboard competition under rocket boards, and he doesn't have the heart to tell him that it's not very good. He gets an offer to ride a snowboard sponsored by this creepy old guy whose name I was too scared to look up.
Hi, Dick Shakley, Snowmart.
Otto does look pretty swaggy in this new gear, which they actually say in this episode.
Who needs this rag? I got swag.
Though I guess swag is actually used by normal people as an acronym for free stuff, like stuff we all get, and then by Justin Bieber conspiracy theorists to mean secretly we are gay. Yes, this was a real thing, look it up. So Otto redeems himself from betraying everyone he knows and loves for the sponsor, riding in the competition under rocket boards, which means just throwing a sticker on top of his sponsored board, which is definitely a breach of contract if not just way more illegal. He wipes out pretty hard here, getting his board taken away, but getting the love of his family and friends who say it was his best ride ever. Pretty nasty work to cover up your sponsor and then snowboard his cardboard cutout head off. Otto might be kinda goated here. Otto's gotta be the MVP for today's episode. Sure, he got eliminated, but if the whole crowd's cheering for you, that's pretty good in my book. In episode 3B, Midnight Prowlers, this episode starts with a hockey match against the older kids, where we see Otto steals the puck, refuses to pass it, and gets it stolen for a goal cause Squid's turning around picking his nose. 20 years later, this is one of the only hockey moments I remember, and I still can't forgive him for this. How are you gonna turn your back from the goal? You couldn't just wait a minute? The older bros rage bait Otto into holding a rematch that night at midnight, which causes a lot of issues roping everyone else into this, and he also said they played like girls, which Reggie obviously finds a little bit problematic. When they do go out to play the midnight grudge match, it ends up getting called off when only Lars shows up, along with the cops, who send them all home with a warning, and Otto now on trash duty for falling for the rage bait and getting everyone else into this mess. I like these nighttime palettes a lot. They're not too intricate, but I remember reading something recently about how Samurai Jack had different color schemes for characters under different light, and it made the whole production look a lot nicer and more expensive. It kinda makes me wonder whether this episode was actually supposed to have a lot bigger of a finale than just getting arrested. If I had to give out an MVP for today's episode, I feel like Otto and Squid are automatically eliminated for throwing the game, so it's truly unfortunate, but I actually have to give today's MVP to Lars for scoring the game-winning goal. Episode 4A, Happy Luau to Yuau. Reggie's plans for her upcoming birthday party are ruined when Otto gets them suspended from the skate park when he decides to chain together and unintentionally Red Rover skating kids into the cement. Like, look at this. All the plans to save Reggie's party from being a big embarrassment just make it way worse. Like, it's gone from the skate park to the surf shack to Violet's house, and she can't even lay low and not invite people since there's a full-page ad in the newspaper.
Be a man, Sam.
I'd rather be a kid.
You mean squid? You're a kid now. You're a squid now. You're a kid. You're a squid. You're a kid. You're a squid.
Otto comes up clutch by working with the others to actually get good music and entertainment and stuff, which is nice, but I think my favorite part of this episode's gotta be Reggie actually talking to her friends that aren't just the other guys. Because I think a lot of people can relate to just being an easily embarrassed kid in the social pressure of a party, and it gives her a lot more depth as a character beyond just being the tomboy of the group. Like, the last couple episodes have Reggie dealing with her own brother, indirectly insulting her and saying the others played like girls, and here he ruined her party along with the bones of about a dozen kids. But I guess he did end up saving it in the end, so he's gotta be today's meme VP. Like, I feel like it does kind of take some skill to do all this. In episode 4B, Squid and Twister, the former Squid, get signed up as junior lifeguards, forming a bit of a friendly rivalry. Otto's such a hater here and says lifeguards are lame, and then Tito reveals some ancient Hawaiian wisdom about how they respected the ocean, and nowadays these are lifeguards. But Otto doesn't really care, and then Tito pretends to fall off the dock and drown. Well, he actually falls off the dock, you know, he didn't pretend to do that, and gets Twister and Sam to save him, passing their final test of saving a Hawaiian in distress. We learned Tito was a former North Shore lifeguard, which is actually pretty impressive if you're familiar with the waves out in Oahu, so I guess that makes the stunt of stumbling off the pier a lot less dangerous. Otto apologizes for insulting lifeguards, but he's still kinda a dick this episode, and I really don't blame anyone that doesn't like him very much. You can make an argument Sam and Twister are co-MVPs, but Sam did a little more here. Like, in the training he actually saved Lars, whereas Twister couldn't save Lars' friend because he pretended to drown face down. In episode 5A, a big new thrill ride opens up on the boardwalk, but Twister's stuck watching his little cousin Scotty. Little Scotty's so lame, like he's actually kind of adorable. I like how he calls Twister Maurice and Reggie Regina, and the others convince him to just call him Squid instead. Twister abandons Scotty to get on this new ride, even though Reggie says she would watch him after her turn, so the rest of the episode has the kids panicking and trying to find this kid while he has a fun time all by himself. In the end, they find Scotty, who was playing carnival games and won this ring for his favorite cousin Maurice, and everything's chill and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool, Maurice. I'm Maurice. His name's Twister.
Okay, they're just repeating you. Make up your mind. This spider ring is kinda sick though. There's no sports or games here, unless you count Scotty managing to win this spider ring all on his own, so I guess as the only character that won something this episode, let's just give an MVP to Scotty. Yep, 9 episodes in and we're just giving them away to anyone. Episode 5B, Big Thursday Raimundo, starts with Otto convincing Twister to go with him out on a big storm wave, and the two of them wipe out pretty hard. Despite being told it's too dangerous to go surf in this storm, Otto's idol, the Rhino, shows up, and Otto goes out surfing once again to follow his lead. As usual, Otto doesn't really listen, and might have just drowned if the others didn't get Raimundo and Tito to go barely save them. Like, even with their lifeguard and surfing experience, it was pretty difficult. The aesthetic of this episode is by far the strongest of the show so far. Like, the gray tint on the characters isn't the most beautiful or anything, but it complements the foreboding atmosphere, and the attention to the rain and wind and ocean waves is really nice. Otto leaves the episode sorta learning something. It's hard to tell what, but it's definitely something.
I should never bounce my tush on a check.
The Rhino's kind of an interesting character here. Like, in some ways he goes to show even if you got all the skill to ride these crazy waves, without any consideration for others, you're still gonna be a jerk that's gonna get beat up with his head buried in the sand like an ostrich. I can't give Otto an MVP for ragdolling in the ocean, so I guess I gotta give today's MVP to Raimundo, since it does take skill to be a successful lifeguard here. Like, even Tito, a former North Shore lifeguard, was struggling. In episode 6A, Rocket Girls, there's a family fun day at the recreation center that pits all the kids against each other in a parent-child competition for a new wave boat. Looking back, that's a crazy prize for a little competition like this, but Reggie and Otto flip a coin, leaving Otto with Raimundo and Reggie to team up with Violet. They work out in her home gym while Otto and Raimundo lay on the couch eating chips, and we know from the party episode that Reggie's easily embarrassed and wants to drop out, but Violet gives her a friendship necklace that she's had since she was a kid, which is like randomly the sweetest moment in this entire show. The balloon toss is won by Twister and Lars, who's dressed as their father, and the egg race is won by Squid and his mom, which I guess shows off their careful, calculated attitude.
Mom, you're awesome!
Where'd you think you got it from, Sammy?
Okay, that goes kinda hard. Reggie's all upset because they're not gonna win, and Violet teaches her to just have a fun time and live life, leading to the final hula hoop challenge they just smoke all the guys at, which somehow gives them a first place finish in the end. Like, I don't know how the events are scored and weighted, but maybe winning the hula hoop race by a giant margin was enough to give them the win. In the end, we see Reggie and Violet set up a line to share their wave bike with everyone else, which is a sweet little touch. This episode has all the qualities that make Rocket Power, which is games and sports, or gas, as Nickelodeon so desperately wants to call it. I feel like Violet's gotta be the MVP. She did the clutch hula hooping to win the competition, and she had the home gym they trained in, but most importantly, she just had good vibes, and that's really what it's all about. Episode 6B, Father's Day Off, has Squid's dad coming to town from Kansas, giving us a little insight that his dad still works there at the moment. He's kinda awkward and vaguely racist to Tito.
Hello, Tito. Or should I say aloha?
The episode has the kids doing a bunch of fun things like going to the water park and laser tag, but Mr. Dullard isn't really around here either, just taking business calls the whole time. When he gets Squid's gift he made for him of this little car design prototype, he kind of realizes he's been a bit of a bad dad this whole time. And this scene made me realize that Sam's parents are probably divorced, and I was too dumb to realize this until I saw him in a hotel room instead of staying at their home. It also kind of makes me realize at the beginning of this episode with Squid's mom telling Squid to did not get his hopes up about seeing his dad is also probably a result of this. The MVP for this episode is a really screwed up one, because really the only stats that can be extrapolated are Twister scoring a goal on Squid when he wasn't really paying attention, sad about his distant father, so I guess we have to give Twister an MVP here, but it's a little more of a meme VP, you know? Episode 7A, Power Girl Surfers. This episode starts with Otto surfing and Twister saying a kind of random catchphrase he says throughout the show.
Take no prisoners, Otto Man!
As a kid, I never understood what the hell this meant. Like, I'd be playing the Game Boy Color game, Ogo sticking around, when suddenly a flash across the screen, take no prisoners. And dumb babby me would sit there like, now why is my game commenting on the prison system? Anyways, this guy from a surfer magazine shows up and wants to put Otto on the cover, and for once, Otto's actually a nice guy here and says, hey, check out my sister Reggie too. The guy says no one cares about girl surfers except other girls, and Otto's faced with a dilemma of whether to accept the deal or to stand up for his sister. He chooses the cover here, and you know, I don't blame him. He really went out of his way to involve her here. And Reggie is upset, but she gets her mojo back when Raimundo and Tito tell a story about this gal Tito used to surf with, who is strong and kind of scary. As we see, she would lift Tito above her head as they surf. Reggie and Sam try to fight the good fight, getting Violet Simpleton and drive them to this spot to recruit a bunch of great surfer gals, including Reggie's friend Trish, who's widely known as the best surfer in the area. So they go to the beach to make their own magazine, and then Trish just swags on Otto, and they tell of the creep from the magazine company. This episode has a really sweet moral, but I actually think they do a great job making a legitimately compelling story. Everyone that's fighting in this episode has a good point. Like, Otto did what he could, but getting on a cover is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Reggie isn't trying to steal his thunder, but the situation's screwed up, and she's out to show that girls are great surfers too, which we clearly see. Kind of an interesting commentary on the representation of women in extreme sports and the hype in the 90s, but I guess I'd have to give Trish the MVP for today's episode. She did kind of swag on Otto, let's be real. Episode 7B starts with Twister showing off his mixtape of Otto shredding, and it kind of feels like clips we've actually seen throughout the show with the camcorder so far. Like when he snowboarded with the fancy equipment and stuff. The tape is good, but everyone loves the post-credits bloopers the most, which kind of tanks Otto's rep. Even this girl Mackenzie, whose only real lines are mostly just saying stuff stinks on ice while smoking a pack a day.
This party stinks on ice!
This kid is like creepy. Get off the table, you gremlin. So Otto breaks up his broship with Twister for his embarrassment and drags Squid along now, and it's honestly kind of sad. Like, Sam doesn't enjoy any of these dangerous stunts, and he starts dressing like Twister, even acknowledging things with his friend group are best when he's the one kind of getting ignored. The episode ends with Twister showing off his new tape that's just Otto's highlights and no funny crashes, and then Otto says, okay Sam, you're back to Squid. And hey, at least he's happy to be free of the dangers that come with being Otto's friend. The episode's fine. I feel like it's a pretty common plot in shows to have one character benefit from the embarrassment of another, but I think this one falls kind of flat since it's basically Twister makes a video showing cool tricks and funny bloopers, Otto gets embarrassed and insecure and kind of just pouts, and then Twister apologizes and makes a new mixtape. I don't really care about it being a bad moral or anything, like it's rocket power, but I don't know, it kind of feels like they were setting up Otto to be secure within himself as opposed to leaning more into his way or the is way. Part of me wants to give Twister the MVP here, but Otto's tricks throughout, even including his fails, had way too much undeniable skill that he unfortunately should still be crowned today's MVP. Episode 8A has a new section of the skate park opening, and when the news goes to cover it, they show Sammy getting pushed in and doing a sick flip. So when the news station shows off the highlights being done, they show a bunch of clips of Otto, and then the one of Sam when he takes his helmet off, making it look like all the tricks done here were by Sam, who's just apparently sick now. It's kind of funny to go back and realize, yeah, the news did splice us all together and make it look like it was all Squid. It wasn't just Otto's imagination or ego speaking. The hype Slam and Sammy builds up more and more until he can't escape the constant spotlight, leading to one big presentation for the news, and Otto helps his friend out by using their same switcheroo of dressing up with the helmets and visors, and just shredding before skating off. There's two pretty strange things about this scene, the first being that Otto's complexion changes in like every other shot. I guess it's maybe to keep the illusion that this might secretly be squid under here, like you don't want to make it too obvious, I guess. But the second is that when Sam skates off to trade places with Otto, a UFO can be seen just picking up a whale in the ocean, which is so weird and creepy, but really funny. Like, apparently a kid rollerblading away is way more interesting. The MVP's obviously gotta be Otto. Yeah, Sam's trick was pretty sick, but the rest of the newscast and encore was all Otto. In episode 8B, Total Loser, the gang learns about Street Luge, with Otto assuming it's yet another competition for him to win, but Twister also enters and totally dusts Otto. Otto seems to have taken some kind of shortcut during this race and wins the trophy, totally stealing Twister's thunder and trophy. It's pretty sad to see this was like the one time Twister thought he found a sport he was actually good at, and Otto still has to cheat to win here, because he only finds winning fun and has to win at everything, which I understand to a degree, but it's so screwed up to cheat and do this to your best friend. Like, you just learned what Street Luge was an hour ago. Reggie guilt trips Otto into this nightmare sequence that's often referenced among my friends and is so funny.
You can take a shortcut, take a shortcut. You can take a shortcut. You can take a shortcut.
Like, why does she say shortcut like that? So Otto feels guilty and confesses he cheated to Twister, and then the two have one final showdown where Twister dusts him once again and gets the trophy fair and square. Otto learns how to lose, which is nice, but I still feel bad. Like, Otto had a whole party and ceremony. I guess at least he's developing a little bit though. Twister's the obvious MVP and the biggest loser, so let's move on. In episode 9A, Otto gets grounded for failing a class and misses the big surf trip, being forced to stay at Stimpleton Island, aka the Stimpleton's house. The whole trip is just moaning about how they all miss Otto, like Reggie wipes out on a wave and Raimundo basically just says, hey, Otto wouldn't do that. So in the end, they just say, well, I guess he learned his lesson, this trip kinda sucks for all of us without him, and they pick him up and he says he guesses he'll try harder. The difference between a good and bad episode is a pretty large jump. Like, the show rarely has compelling plots and emotional depth, so when it centers around depriving them of the games and sports, I struggle to come up with a lot of good things to talk about. I guess Raimundo has to be the meme VP. Like, some may argue Otto is apparently so goated the others literally can't have fun without him, but the whole trip is Raimundo's doing, and I appreciate he at least tried to teach Otto something here, even though he caved in after a day. Like, I think it's a good enough compromise for everyone to be chill with. He's a pretty good dude. Episode 9B, Band on the Run, has Otto set up a huge new stunt loop around the boardwalk, even skating by this woman who is just straight up green. Stimpleton hurts his elbow, slipping on the skateboard, and all the old people gather together to set up a meeting to ban skateboarding. With nowhere left for kids to go skating, they decide to build and fix up their big half-pipe and charge admission to ride it right outside the Stimpleton's window. So he actually does something kinda cool here and helps open the Madtown skate park for the kids. This is the same skate park we saw the Rockets get banned from a few episodes ago when they just ran kids over while locked together. So I'm guessing this episode was written before the other and released later for whatever reason, but it's kind of funny to note that regardless of what the town does, Otto will hurt others with his skateboard no matter what.
I'd like to introduce the park's manager, Conroy Blanc.
Don't move. There is something on your head. That's my hair, man.
That's kind of crazy to say. Like, Stimpleton, you got the Hitler cut, dog. Is there an MVP? I guess Otto did land this trick. Like, he was the only one to do anything athletic here. I feel like it's enough to give him the MVP. In episode 10A, Super McVarial 9000, Otto's working on a big new trick thanks in part to Squid's high-tech skateboard computing and game theorying, building up his half-pipe and working tirelessly on this trick day and night. Squid says the trick's impossible, but Otto lands it in large part due to the kids accidentally launching a tennis ball into the Stimpleton's lawn, and then the lawnmower launches it back into the skateboard, finally allowing Otto to get just enough spin to land the trick. Squid tries to warn Otto, but he's too intent on actually landing the trick and just super beefs, losing the competition and damn near his life. Otto and Squid have a nice little moment at the end where Otto actually apologizes for being hard-headed and not listening to Squid, who's making a little bit of progress skating. At the same time, I actually think Otto is pretty cool here. It's nice to have a character try to do the impossible. And he did land it once, even though it was with a little help, but for that, I think Otto's gotta be the MVP. If not for just being the only character to actually step on a skateboard for like the second episode in a row. In 10B, the kids play hockey in a plaza parking lot, and Squid gets distracted by looking at a bug crawling off the goalpost barrel, which I can excuse getting distracted by a lot more, like it crawled right in front of him, and more importantly, he locked in right away and blocked the shot, though the others do get mad at him for the puck going out of play and into the computer store. When Squid goes to get the puck, he meets this techie kid Oliver, and they go to hang out together. Despite them both having their interests in science and tech, this kid Oliver is way nerdier than Sam, and it kind of goes to show that he doesn't terribly fit on either side. Like sometimes he's a bit too dorky and the Rocket Gang kind of push him around to toughen him up, but he's also too cool to hang out with total nerds that say riding a bike is way too dangerous. The hockey goes terribly without Sam, showing he may be the most valuable asset to the whole team, because Twister can't even save an easy shot, and then they hold tryouts for a new goalie, eventually landing on this kid Eddie of the Netherworld, who just tries to aura farm the puck, which does not stop it, unfortunately. So the gang goes to the library to get Squid back, and on top of this, they even get a genius scorekeeper in the form of Oliver. It's a nice little ending, similar to how the party episode showed off another side of Reggie and her life outside of the group. It's cool to see Sam make friends with his other interests. As for the MVP, despite Sam clearly being the player most difficult to replace, if we're going just by the stats of the episode, unfortunately, we gotta give today's MVP to Lars once again with 1 assist and 1 goal. In episode 11A, Rainy Days and Sundays, Reggie's training for an upcoming triathlon, but it's raining out, so Otto tries to make a chocolate sundae in the kitchen. He accidentally spills it on the floor and starts sliding around on it through the kitchen, and honestly, it might be the craziest thing I've seen in the whole show. Otto and Twister get in a lot of trouble, and Reggie jumps out the window so she doesn't get in trouble before the triathlon, and I don't know. I guess the theory here is that the amount of trouble they'd be in would be more evenly dispersed between 3 people than 2. And like, they probably would take the heat for her since the big triathlon's coming up anyways. And also Otto started this, though I guess that doesn't really matter. I feel like they make this struggle way more compelling by having Raimundo be sad instead of angry and knowing this would happen the whole time. Reggie drops out of the triathlon and goes home to confess, in large part thanks to Tito's ancient Hawaiian saying of the day.
Oh, not the ancient Hawaiians.
The most important races are won in the ocean of the soul. Good luck, Reggie.
So all is forgiven and the 3 kids are now forced to make sundaes at the surf shack. Like, low-key, Reggie confessing got them all in more trouble, but I guess it does wipe away their debts. I don't think the training can count towards an MVP progression, so while people may give Reggie an MVP here, I feel like we gotta give the meme VP to Tito, cause without him, Reggie would have never come clean, and the ancient Hawaiian sayings are just a classic staple of the show I love so much. In 11B, Zine Dreams, Otto and Twister just absolutely dust Reggie and Squid on their roller skates, talking smack the whole time. Reggie gets mad saying she'll get her revenge on them by embarrassing them in her zine, and Reggie does in fact type up a bunch of embarrassing stuff about them, but she never intended to publish it, so when it accidentally makes the rounds, they have to go around town to take all the magazines back, ending the episode with Reggie being like, yeah, y'all were kinda jerks no matter what I did, so like, I'm sorry sorry it went out, but I'm not that sorry. And they're just like, no, yeah, that's fair. And they just have a street race where Reggie gets pushed into a hedge right away, but not without putting a lame-o sign on Twister's back first. Not a very complex episode or terribly funny, but it does have a nice flow. Like when people say the show is boring, I think people have a good reason to think so with episodes like this. But I don't know, it was nice. I guess Otto and Twister outskated Reggie and Sam, but Reggie kinda got their asses here, both figuratively and literally. So I guess she can be the meme VP for today's transgressions. In episode 12A, Hawaiian Blues, Tito's pretty down and homesick, storming off and causing Raimundo and Reggie to go after him, leaving the Stimpletons to man and woe-man the grill.
Oh, Merv, it's good to help out once in a while. Let's play with the deep fat fryer.
Hey! So they all go out of their way to make sure Tito feels properly appreciated, and it might seem a little weird their way of cheering Tito up is by having him help them surf and do math homework, but that really goes to show who Tito is, just a jolly dude who helps everyone. There's also this super sweet scene with Reggie telling Tito he's an extra special part of their family, which is made even sweeter when you realize the Rockets only live with their father, and we don't know anything about their mother so far. So they end with a surprise party for Tito, even flying out his cousins from Hawaii, and tells them they're all part of his family, and he even drops an ohana, that means family, a few years before Lilo and Stitch did, which is kind of funny. No games and sports here, but I'd like to think Tito has got to be the meme VP of this episode, because it's like dedicated to him, you know? It's cool to have an episode that kind of highlights more of his Hawaiian heritage, because so far we've heard a lot through his ancient sayings, but never seen so much as we have here. In 12B, this episode has the kids trying to get this girl Mackenzie back to her parents, and as we've seen in the short clips so far, Mackenzie, this angry, violent child who says everything stinks on ice, and she's got hands, like she even beats up Lars and takes his ice cream. All their efforts of watching her and trying to get her help are for nothing, cause she can just grab a megaphone and scream until the entire town can hear her, and then she can act like a sweet little angel who can do no wrong. Honestly, I find Mackenzie hilarious. I looked up to see if she had any other interesting roles or characters, but there wasn't too much in terms of voice acting, and oh my gosh. Oh, that's terrifying. So yeah, Mackenzie's my meme VP for just being so funny. Like, saying everything stinks on ice is like one of those random sayings you hear little kids say because they probably heard a parent or a movie say it. So yeah, let's move on. In 13A, the night before, this is the first year the kids can go trick-or-treating on their own, but the night before is Mischief Night, where people go out and do bad stuff. Seems like it'd be way smarter to have this the night after Halloween if you're worried about getting caught and in trouble. Like, you're not gonna miss Thanksgiving, probably. So the boys, along with Eddie at the Netherworld, the really bad goalie when Sam left a few episodes ago, go to TP the Stimpletons' house. Yeah, that's short for toilet paper, in case you didn't know. Lars and his friends do the TPing, but Reggie gets framed for it all when she shows up to tell the boys, hey, you're gonna get arrested if you do dumb stuff tonight. Anytime the police show up and bring the kids back, there's always this flirtatious vibe between Raimundo and Officer Cheryl that's always like really funny and charming.
I think you can handle it from here, Ray. Thanks, Cheryl.
They honestly have some real chemistry. So the episode ends with Raimundo punishing them all by forcing them to trick-or-treat in a big family-themed costume of pumpkins. And worst of all, only one piece of candy per house, which is like normal? I don't even know who could be the meme VP here. I guess it was pretty cool of Raimundo to still let them all go trick-or-treating. And Reggie did go out of her way to get the boys to not do something stupid. So I guess I gotta give the award to Raimundo, cause this is pretty funny, and you know, whenever he's chill, I feel like I gotta give him points. Episode 13B, Violet's Violet, was always one of my favorite and most memorable episodes as a kid. Like, I always thought this soapbox derby looked so fun, and you know, I wasn't really a Boy Scout, so I never had the opportunity to do this. It turns into a big rivalry between Twister and Lars just bumps him right away, knocking his wheel off the cart into Violet's prized garden of violets. I see what you did there. This is the first time in the entire series we've seen Violet upset, let alone frown, and she's totally broken. We learn Violet's African violets have won trophies for 30 years straight, and the only way to fill the void where the 31st trophy would be is by Stimpleton, that's just what we call Jeremiah, and the kids teaming up to make a much more professional cart fit to win the trophy. It's a really fun team up and goes to show Stimpleton's not just an angry old man. Well, he is, but he loves his wife too. In Twister and Lars' rematch, Twister's able to take first place in Violet's Violet, giving her her favorite trophy yet. I think Twister's gotta be the MVP for actually winning the race, but he definitely had a great crew behind him for a great cause. In The Fall and Rise of Sam, what is this, a YouTube video? Reggie and Tito teach Sam how to surf by giving him a little lesson about the history and culture of surfing with his Hawaiian influence. Tito reveals when he was a kid he was a pretty bad surfer until he was given a longboard by his father, and Sam's also a little bigger and needs a bigger board and to just relax and have fun. So Sam learns how to surf and relax and does actually shred a bit, so he's gotta be today's MVP. This episode isn't too crazy, but definitely made me want to learn surfing as a kid, and even now I'm like, you know, that looks fun. And this board is pretty swaggy. In 14B, Sam's typhoid, Sam gets sick during the hockey game, letting in the tying goal with only a minute left, but is able to hold out long enough to block the next shot, allowing Twister to score the game-winning goal. Sam gets over this illness in a couple hours, but passes it on to everyone else, so with the playoffs on the line, Sam has to make a makeshift team of Eddie of the Netherworld and Reggie's two pals, who we've only seen really surf so far. Craziest part of this episode has got to be Raimundo taking a pizza out the oven for the kids and placing it directly on the ottoman. That's the most surfer bro thing I've ever seen, and it's pretty hilarious. Especially when you consider the fact the kids are sick and need something a little healthier. They ask for something like soup, and he goes to make hot pineapple soup, which honestly sounds kinda good. I kinda thought Sam would just be playing goalie, like, hey, if he's a brick wall and the other kids score a goal, they can win. But Sam goes out there and just starts ripping shots, like he's the most clutch athlete in this show. If he can bring this ragtag team together that can barely skate, he's easily today's MVP. I kinda assume he scored all 4 goals in this match, considering the others haven't really played, so I'm gonna give Sam credit for 4 goals today. Like dang, maybe Twister should just play goalie full time, I don't know. In 15A, The Wrath of Dawn, Otto gets really obsessed with this skateboarding movie star, Donnie Lightning, and they realize he's just a total schnoz, and even has a stunt double, ruining Otto's illusion. So Otto challenges Donnie to a skate-off, where they basically just push Donnie down, inspiring the director to change the tone of the movie, and probably injuring Donnie, since the final movie features him in a full body cast. The summary of this episode is pretty crazy, like the kids find out their movie star idol is a poser, injure him, and then get sick of his movies. Otto's gotta be the MVP for outskating him though, at least. In 15B, Sam gets forced to take over the safety patrol after the kids all mess with Eddie when he was forced to do it. Sam goes kinda mad with power and starts charging everyone for everything, like he charges Reggie for roller skating backwards, but he does kinda chump Lars and his friends. Sam has a tough decision to make when the kids have a hockey game in the faculty parking lot, kinda taking advantage of the awkward position Squid is in, especially since they're playing without a goalie. You know, all these games are assumed to be 4-on-4, but I don't think we ever see who plays goalie for Lars' team. Kinda makes sense to not have to animate a 4th goon if you don't have to, though. Sam redeems himself for tipping off the vice principal to this event by going full Phoenix Wright and just laying down the law.
It specifically mentions basketball, baseball, kickball, soccer, kickball, capture the flag, and Red Rover. But street hockey is conspicuously absent.
I think Sam's gotta be the meme VP here, since no real sport was actually played or went down. Like, yeah, he got them into the mess, but he got them out too, and really everyone else got Sam into this situation in the first place when you think about it. Like, they just skated off after messing with Eddie. That wasn't cool, man. In 16A, Reggie and Annette, Reggie tries out for the girls' volleyball team, but the guys just like straight up do not care.
No, this is my chance to play on the same team as Sherry and Trish. So it's important to me. And
There's the dilemma of helping Reggie practice or helping Squid with their group science project, but like they're so dumb, why would you ever want their help? Reggie just becomes a ball hog, basically shoving everyone out of the way, and doesn't make the team as a result. So the episode ends with Reggie apologizing for being so crazy about trying to make the team and getting a spot on the practice squad, while Otto and Twister go to help out a little bit with their science project by eating a bunch of lukewarm, solar-powered hot dog cooker cooked hot dogs. I think Reggie's gotta be the MVP still. Like, yeah, she messed stuff up a lot, and it's understandable why she didn't make the team, but I think she objectively did the most good results-wise here, despite being an awful teammate. Like, maybe you could argue giving it to Sherry or Trish in the win, but I'd still draft Reggie above them. In 16B, the Great Sandcastle Race, Sam's nerdy friend Oliver talks about how he's part of this sandcastle building team that wins the competition every year, and says no one else is smart enough to outbuild them, which gets Squid's competitive spirit rising.
Yeah, we gotta win the trophy back from those nerds. Those other nerds.
The kids have the idea to build the boardwalk out of sand, and Twister has a pretty amazing knack for this, but the tide's rising quickly and they have no other choice but to ask Lars and his friends for help. I'm kind of amazed Lars helps here. It's most likely because everyone else here is more of a dork and a shooby than even the Rocket crew, but I always love when villains help out. Yes, Lars is a villain. The Sandcastle dorks build this perpetual motion device thing that hardly involves sand at all. Like, this is more wood and tread than it is sand. So it should probably be no surprise that the Rockets beat this dorky device in the competition, but the Rockets only get second, with Mackenzie getting first, because she's the only one to have actually built a sandcastle in the sandcastle competition. Yeah, that's funny and all, but I'm not gonna give Mackenzie the meme VP. That's gotta go to Twister. Like, he's a sandcastle savant, and for all intents and purposes, I actually do consider this a sandcastle. In 17A, Escape from Lars Mountain, this episode explores a little more about how Lars is always a schnoz to his little brother. So to make it up to him, Lars tells Twister he'll bring him up to this secret older kid spot, Mondo Mountain, just minutes after the other kids told Twister to never believe anything Lars says, ever. Lars just throws the signposts away and gets the kids lost in the woods, but they prank him back by pretending Twister fell off a cliff, only leaving his ripped shirt behind. So like, pretty crazy prank, but Lars deserves it, and they got his ass. So they end the episode with Lars sort of learning a lesson and getting the little Sibs microwave bean burritos from the gas station so they don't share the embarrassing pictures from the Christmas party.
I guess I never realized how much I realized.
Twister's the meme VP here, obviously, so let's move on. In 17B, it was a dark and stormy day. There's a big storm in Ocean Shore, and Sam stumbles upon what he thinks is Tito trying to kill Raimundo. Yeah, I'm not too scared to say unalive. There's also a secret lobster party they're trying to keep from the kids, and Tito's an awful liar and looks really sus, so they call the cops and lock Tito in the freezer. Of all the characters to think would be malicious, Tito? It's a fun episode. It might pair up a little better with the Halloween episode, but overall, it's cool. Gotta give Tito the meme VP, cause he's pretty funny throughout, and my man got locked in a freezer for giving the kids a surprise lobster party. Like, who else can I give this to? In 18A, Aloha Kid, Tito's nephew's coming to town for this surf competition, and unfortunately for Otto, he's smart and helpful and skilled, which Otto hates. They have yet another hockey game with playoff implications on the line, like every other match they've played, but Otto ditches them to go surf since he's jealous, which makes it all the more hilarious that Keone takes Otto's spot on the hockey team, even scoring the equalizing goal to make it a 2-2 game. We don't see how it ends, because Otto comes back and apologizes for being a bit of a schnoz and how he's not used to anyone being better than him at anything. So Keone runs off and goes to the surf competition he nearly abandoned to go help his new friends, and then he wins that too. So yeah, undeniable MVP of the day. Scoring a goal and a perfect 10 on the last wave of the competition is a pretty sick track record. In 18B, Automobile, Otto's skating awesome in a competition, but has to drop out because Tito's sick and the kids have to cover for him. Otto gets Reggie and Sam to cover for him instead, which is honestly fair. Like, winning the competition could be a big deal, and anyone can wash dishes, except maybe Sam.
I've never seen you bust bigger air. I would have busted something else.
This episode also has this clip I see a lot of the most typical interaction as a server you will ever see.
What is this fish taco?
Flounder with pico de gallo in a flour tortilla.
Oh, what's pico de gallo?
Hot salsa.
Is a fish taco shaped like a fish?
Sure, whatever. Is that what you want?
Oh, no. I'll have a cheeseburger.
Try living with him.
The whole surf shack gets overrun with customers who start chanting service, which is crazy. Otto tries to balance the competition with the lunch shift, which oftentimes has a character learning they can't have everything and failing at both. But here Otto shreds the skate competition and is pretty useless around the shack. And when Raimundo finds out they lied and went behind his back, he's obviously upset, but still lets Otto go win the trophy before putting him on dish duty for however long that may be. It kind of feels like Raimundo realized their point that anyone could wash the dishes for him, but at the same time, defending Otto here would sound pretty spoiled. Like, your presumably single father runs the restaurant and needs help for an afternoon, and even here he's still pretty amicable about the whole mess. Even with Squid getting locked in the freezer trying to help. Otto's gotta be the MVP here for winning the skateboard competition, though it was thanks in large part to everyone around him helping cover for him. In 19A, Big Air Dare, the Rockets go on a snowboard trip where Otto and Reggie just have a big competition but end up tying in everything they do. They're pretty reckless, going off the trail and getting in trouble with the ski patrol guard who threatens to put their passes on the wall of shame if they keep boarding today, but they don't listen, they never listen, and when they do the Big Air Dare, Reggie chickens out and Otto dies. Well, he only breaks his leg, but that might be worse for Otto since he has to sit around the whole time and even gets them all put on the wall of shame. While I kind of feel like Reggie may have just barely won the couple photo finishes in the episode, the only definitive result not ending in a tie here was Otto's quote-unquote victory at the end. So you know what, if he's gonna break his leg for a single win, we might as well give him the MVP. In 19B, Otto's Big Break, this episode actually follows up with the last episode, with Otto still in his cast, desperately trying to skate and play hockey, but they don't have the heart to tell him he can't play in the game. So they lie to Otto, telling him it got rescheduled, and have no choice but to ask for the help of Lars, who's just aura farming under the boardwalk. Otto gets upset they lied to him about the hockey game, but like, I can't even feel bad for Otto. It's not like he's back to being healthy and just bad. He's legitimately injured and bad. Otto even goes as far as to stop the hockey game, kicking out Lars who just scored the go-ahead goal and passes out right away when he gets a puck to the foot. That's actually really annoying. The fact he just barges in and is an instant liability is so annoying. It's truly unfortunate, but Lars has gotta be today's MVP. To join a new team and score the go-ahead goal is a pretty great stat line. Like, the only other option would be Reggie for her tying goal, or Otto for his save, which obviously wouldn't be the case. Depending on how this hockey league is scored, whether you get a point for going to overtime or not, you could make an argument about Reggie's tying goal is more valuable than Lars's game-winning goal, but I don't know. With the playoffs on the line, Lars was clutch, even though he did get kicked off the team in the end. So yeah, Lars has got to be my MVP. In 20A, Snow Day, Sam tells the other kids about snow days and how the blizzards in Kansas give them the days off school sometimes. So Otto just pretends today's a snow day in Southern California and forces Sam to take the day off with them. The logic's pretty crazy here, but also if you don't want to get caught, surfing on the beach is like the worst place to be. What's even funnier is the school day's actually kinda sick with a random circus act. Kinda reminds me of those memes of like the one day you miss school or what on earth does this assembly have to do with drugs or with bullying? Kinda a combo of that one Hey Arnold episode and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Otto and Squid get stuck upside down on a roller coaster, even making it onto the news. So they get busted for skipping school, and in the principal's office, Sam reveals he's from Hutchinson, Kansas, a real 40,000 person town who months after this episode had a pretty notable natural gas explosion, though I would have been pretty hype if my town was randomly mentioned in Rocket Power. If anyone watching this is from Kansas and Squid's your favorite character because of that, please let me know. I'm so curious to see how hype that was for you. Sam's gotta be the meme VP for everything he did on this quote-unquote snow day. Like, sure, he's a bit of a dork, but he's cool too.
Since when does Tito wear a dress? You never know.
In 20B, the kids get a 1-week trial to this fancy pool club, which is super stifling, like they're not even allowed to play Marco Polo, because they have a rule of no saying the names of 15th century explorers. They try to play volleyball and Reggie just damn near kills these dorky kids, and everywhere they go they kinda just get in the way of all these old people. Honestly, it's kinda depressing. Before the kids leave, they just cause absolute chaos by cannonballing into the pool, and they give props to Raymundo for being right about how they don't belong at such an uptight community, even if it does have nice facilities. Maybe you could argue Raymundo's the meme VP for knowing better, but I'd like to think Reggie's volleyball skills were enough to terrorize these poor souls, giving her a real MVP for this short-lived volleyball game. In 21A, all about Sam, this new kid Josh moves into the neighborhood, and he's kind of a dork, kind of a jerk. A dirk, if you will. He thinks Otto's super cool, but Otto kinda hates him for skating into him, so Josh tries to weasel his way into the squad and sorta kicks Sam out, making him the new honorary Squid. Low-key one of the most hateable characters in the whole show. The rest of the kids are like, hey, Josh, you have really bad vibes, and you're like a jerk to Sam. And he's like the only one who liked you at all, so go away. And then the episode ends with a hockey game where Sam makes the save, but I have no idea what the score is, and no one scored a goal or anything here. So I guess Sam has to be a pretty easy MVP pick here. Though even if this game didn't happen, Sam would have been the meme VP for sure for having the patience to put up with this kid Josh in the first place. Like, he just gives me the creeps. In 21B Half Twister, Twister's directing a video for a school project and gets in a bit of a fight with Otto because he's being a bit of a show-off and egoist like usual. The funniest part of this whole interaction is to see that Otto thinks he's being a nice, caring person in his head, but only realizes on video playback he's a jerk who pressured Twister into a stunt.
Be careful, Twist. It's a real toughie. Unless you're a little chicken boy. I can't believe I said that.
This actually explains so much. Like, Otto's a maniac, but he's not really trying to be a jerk to his friends. Honestly, I think he's just taken one too many falls to the dome. Otto apologizes to Twister and encourages him to retry the stunt for his video, getting the first person recording of this half-pipe sesh. And it's a sweet little ending to a relatively chill episode that explores the broship between Otto and Twister, as well as Otto's twisted psyche. I'd like to think this skate sesh is impressive enough to be considered a real MVP trophy for Twister. Like, this is an impressive athletic feat, and he got it all on film too. In 22A, Twisting Away, Twister believes today's his last day in town when he overhears his parents talking about how he's gonna have a change of scenery and the movers will all be here soon. To be fair, Maurice was digging holes in the yard searching for money. Like, even Squid sees the yard and is like, nah, that's valid. The rest of the episode is the gang trying to have fun like it's their last day together, which is a combo of righting Twister's wrongs, as well as trying to skate and and surf and stuff like it's the last time. In the end, we learn the movers aren't here for Twister's stuff to be moved out, but to move his new furniture in, and that Lars lied about Twister moving in with their aunt, as well as the fact that there was money hidden in the yard somewhere. That's honestly so funny. Like, Twister can really be dumb at times, but Lars honestly got his ass twice here. So I'm marking Lars today's meme VP. We got one final episode of Season 1 of Rocket Power, and then we're gonna tally up today's biggest winners and losers, so like and subscribe now so you know you did it before it was cool. In the final episode of the season, the group goes to the big secret spot, which actually is full of locals now, making the Rockets the Shoobies. I didn't realize just how legendary of a surfer Raimundo was, but the locals just yell at them, and Raimundo's like, "I'm a legend, man, they got movies of me." They all fight over the waves in the ocean, but on the beach, Twister and Sam play frisbee, running through people's stuff, which is so messed up and inconsiderate. I'm just gonna say it, I don't care they got sand in Sam's potato salad.
Rings, we got
Sand in the potato salad!
Go home and trash your own beach, kids.
They got sand in the potato salad! They got sand in the potato salad!
They realized they were acting like a bunch of shoobies, cutting into the surf line and trashing the beach, and when they clean up and actually wait their turn, pruning up for an hour to show they're about the code of surfing, they actually all have a great time together. It's a really nice, chill ending to the first season, while also teaching a little bit about beach and surf etiquette, a testament to the timelessness of mutual respect and big waves, even in changing times. This is really the toughest MVP/meme VP to give out. Like, I guess they all kind of surfed equally. And this dude Mondo did have a point, they were all acting like a bunch of shoobies. So it's a toss-up between him and Raimundo for meme VP, because Mondo's right, but Raimundo did kind of aura farm here. I'm just gonna give it to Mondo, so let's move on to our final results of who's the biggest winners and losers of Season 1 of Rocket Power. Now, starting with the Meme VP award, it's actually Tito that wins this with 4 total wins. Raimundo and Twister tied for second with 3 wins each, which makes a lot of sense since the adults are more comedic relief, as well as Twister, who's just a little slower than the rest, both mentally and physically. The physical part actually makes him tied for third with Lars and Reggie for the real MVP award with 3 wins each. I'm genuinely surprised Reggie didn't have more wins. There's an argument to be made she's the strongest athlete of the bunch, going head to head in any sport while also playing more sports than anyone else. So the race for first is between Sam and Otto. In a final result of 8-5 MVP awards, our most valuable player is Otto Rocket. Yeah, you know, that might be the least surprising thing ever. Maybe I should just delete this whole video. I will say I truly thought before making this video that Sam was gonna win easily. I think if we were to use some other metric or measurement for who the strongest player is, from like a wins above replacement perspective, there's an argument to be made Sam's more valuable to the hockey team than Otto. Like, we saw them win a game without Otto when they replaced him with Lars, but outside of hockey, Otto's just too dominant in surfing, skating, even snowboarding. There were a few duds here and there where it truly felt like nothing happened, like the night hockey game for instance, but the show was so much more fun than I remember at times. It's really a chill vibe that makes it a perfect summertime show, definitely not a Friday night cartoon like what you'd see the absolute monsters of Cartoon Network back in the day, but more of a you just went swimming so the sandwich and chips taste way better, and you're watching these kids surf and skate while you're sitting on a towel. Thanks for watching. Liking and subscribing really helps me for my future goals, and let me know what you want to see next. If you really like this video, there's a couple more seasons and movies I'd love to tell you all about. Big ups to my Patreon and Ko-fi supporters. These videos are made thanks to viewers like you. Alright, I'll talk to you next week. Bye.